Hello, and welcome to the New Life Counseling Introduction video for the Tabletop Life Skills group. The purpose of this video is to give you an overview as to how this class and group works. Now, for myself, I will be facilitating. I'm Mr. Bradley Andrews, and I'm going to be leading you through this group as you embark in leading your own army. Now, the whole purpose of this group is to help facilitate your brain development as you continue to work through your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions, but being able to do it in a quick manner and being aware of it. Now, when it comes to this group, I enjoy to have fun, but it's also a time to learn as well about yourself. Now, you'll get to do this, like I just shared, by getting your own army. I use Lord of the Rings tabletop strategy game. I've kind of changed it a little bit to help facilitate in this setting, but you having that opportunity to learn through this type of game. Now, when it comes to yourself, there's five main phases you should know of that how the game tends to work. First, there's a priority phase where we will all roll a dice to see who gets to have priority for that round. Who gets to move first. Second is the movement phase, and where you'll get to move your soldiers. Third is the shoot phase, where you'll get to use your archers. Fourth is the attack or fight phase, where you'll get to actually have the hand-to-hand combat fought out and played out. And the last phase is the scenario check-in phase. Now, this is the part where you're going to be able to check in with yourself and say, hey, what is my thoughts? Where am I feeling right now when I'm in the game? And also, what am I going to do about it? Do I need to calm myself down because maybe I'm just getting really into the game? Or am I just feeling passive? Or how can I raise my energy up? Well, that is the fifth stage, which is the check-in scenario phase. Then we go do the whole thing again where it goes through priority, movement, shoot, attack, and then check-in phase. That's the overview of how the game works. Now, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to be showing you the board game of how the basic movements work. Alright, so I'm going to be taking you through the different 5 phases just to give you once again an overview. So the first phase is the priority phase, where each participant's going to be rolling a dice to see who gets to have priority or go first for that round. So let's say, for example, I roll for the first one, I roll a 5 for him. I rolled a 3. I rolled a 6. And I rolled a 2. So the order of priority would first be the captain of the Minas Tirith, the captain for the orcs, the captain for the Uruk-hai, and then the captain for the dwarves. That would be how we would have the turns for that round. Alright, and now we are on to the second phase, which is the movement phase. So the men of Minas Tirith were able to roll first, so they would get to move first. So the way movement works is you move from the back end of the stand to the front end of the ruler. So men of Minas Tirith can move 6 inches. Now the same with the other guys. You can move right behind 6 inches and 6 inches. Same with the Uruks. These are the orcs, my apologies. Orcs, they can move up to 6 inches. Now the Uruk-hai, they can move as well, those 6 inches. So let's move this out. So with the 6 inches, they can move all the way to there. Now what I'm showing you is your stats sheet or statistics sheet for each one of the soldiers that are on the board. Now this is going to play really important, especially into the shoot and to the fight attack phase. Now with the shoot and the attack phase, on this sheet it shows what the initial roll needs to be for a individual archer to shoot. Now for the orc soldier, it actually takes a 5 for him to be able to shoot. For the dwarf soldier, it only takes a 4 for him to have to shoot. And for the men of Minas Tirith, it takes a 4. for the initial shoot phase. So during the shoot phase, you will roll to see if you can even get a shot off, which with each of these soldiers. Now after the initial shoot phase, then you got to go in to see if you do the final blow. Now the final blow will go into looking at the strengths and the defense of each character, which we will do a little bit in the following segments. Now, when it comes to the shoot phase, just know that also there is a penalty if you decide to move and shoot. You can only move half your distance and still be able to shoot. If you move your full distance, that would mean that you won't be able to shoot at all. Alright, so now we get into the attack phase. Now when it comes to the attack phase, let's just say during the movement phase, the way you attack someone is by moving them base-to-base contact with another unit of that's opposite of theirs. So this would mean they are engaged in a fight. Now when it comes to being engaged in a fight, what it would be is they would both have what's called the initial attack phase, where they each would roll one dice to see who gets to go higher, or who gets the highest roll. So let's say, for example, the Urukai rolls a 6, and the Orc rolls a 5. So in this instance, the Urukai would win, and the Orc would be pushed back half an inch. Now, with that being said, the second half of the fight would then be the initial blow. So we would look at the strength and defense chart, or the wound chart, to see what would be required in order for the Orc to be killed or to be wounded. So let's see. In here, it would take, I'm just going to say, for example, I'm going to be looking at the wound chart over here. And the Urukai has a strength. The Urukai soldier has a strength of 4, and the Orc has a defense of 4, but because he does have a shield, his defense does go up 1, so it'd be 5. So it'd be a strength of 4 and a defense of 5. So the Urukai would need a 5 or 6 in order to wound him. And he does wound him, which would mean he would be wounded and he would be out of the game. So let's take that same scenario again. So let's say they are engaged in a fight. So they would both get 2 dice. However, the Urukai can declare he's shielding, which means he would get 2 dice. So let's say, for example, they roll 4s, and he rolls a 3 and a 5. The Urukai would win because of his higher dice roll. However, due to him shielding, he would not get to do an initial a final blow. So because he put all his strength into shielding, he could not deliver a final blow to give a wound. Now this is the last phase. And once again, the purpose of this game is to help with brain development, to get you to process your thoughts, emotions, and actions in a quick manner, and just repeating that process. So during each of the last phases, the check-in phase, you're going to be writing, okay, how am I feeling? And if you need to, there's a resource to help you with different emotions that may be there. How are you feeling in that moment in the game? Second would be, okay, what's my thought behind my feeling? So if I'm feeling frustrated, maybe I'm feeling frustrated because I just lost 3 units during that game. And then what the last box is, okay, what can I do to lower or raise my mood? You'll have a resource as well to choose for something that you can do in between each turns. That way, once again, you want to just be able to check in with yourself and see what can I do to help myself in this game, whether I'm either frustrated or even feeling a little passive. But that is the fifth. That's the fifth phase that happens in this game. All right. So these are the captains of these different 4 factions. Now, what's special about captains is they have higher statistics, but they also get what's called a 2 might and 1 fate. What might does is it allows you to add +1 to your dice at any time during the game. Also, it could have you do a heroic move, which means the captain and all his units within 6 inches of him can be moved first. Even if they don't have priority, they still may be able to move first. So that's a heroic move. A heroic fight also is where if the unit decides during a fight to call it before the battle, they can say heroic fight, and they would get to fight that battle, and if they won, they would get to fight another battle during the same round. So they get to fight 2 battles in 1 round rather than just 1. Now with that as well, they would also get what's called a fate. Now let's say if the dwarf is about to be out of the game due to a fight and dice and he's knocked out. Now he can call a fate, which would be where on a 1, 2, 3, he would be out of the game. On a 4, 5, 6, he would still remain in the game. So in this case, if he used a fate, he would still be in the game. Okay, so how do you even win this game? Now, the way you win this game is by having units. You get 1 point per unit that's on the middle circle. You get 1 point per unit that's on the circle. However, you also can get a point if you have a unit touching the smaller circles. You get 2 points if you're the only army touching the small circle. If another unit is touching it, then you each get 1 point each. Now, if 3 or 4, say all the other units are touching it, you still would only get 1 point for capturing that objective. Now, this was the introduction for the Tabletop Life Skills group. I know it was a lot of information, but I wanted to make sure that you were given a general overview before you came into session. Once again, the mission is to just work on that process of your thoughts, emotions, and actions and during the game and applying that then into life. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Once again, this is Bradley Andrews, and I'll be leading this group as we go through this process.